Hi, everybody. Welcome to our last session for the series of BALIKBAYAN Returning Home. This is our revolution. I'm super excited to see what happens to our characters. We are right up where we're going head on with the Corp in this session, which is going to be exciting. But we'll do introductions first. And so my name is Jamie. They, them pronouns, please. I am the I feel like saying intrepid, except now I'm blanking on what intrepid means. I feel like saying intrepid designer. I don't know if that's accurate. I will look that up later.
Fearless?
Yeah, that's a word that wanted to come up, and I don't know why. I feel like I should put that on my cards.
I mean, it's often used in context with explorers and scientists and such,
Right?
people striking off into the unknown. So I think that counts. Designing a game and striking off into the unknown.
Yeah, true. So, so I am your intrepid game designer. And I'm really excited to be playing with the Gauntlet folks on the Gauntlet Hangouts. I think that's it for me. I think I'll just talk about briefly. So what BALIKBAYAN is, it's a cyberpunk tabletop role-playing game that takes place in a dystopic future where magic and the supernatural meet. All of our characters are elementals. They are based on actual legends and myths in Filipino folklore, but with a cyberpunk twist to them. So let's go around and have our introductions. Why don't we start with Puckett, please?
Hi there, I am Puckett. I have just finished quite a large amount of coffee, and I will be playing Eduardo Abayan, the Saint, this evening. Last time, the cool thing that Eduardo did was, as usual, pass out after performing a miracle, because that's apparently just what he does. What was the miracle? I don't even remember what the miracle was last time.
Oh, yeah.
Couldn't have been that miraculous.
No, it was really miraculous. You filled up the entire sewer, because we were down in the sewer. You filled it up with a bright light. You were assisting our son. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because we had those things that thrived on darkness, and we needed to remove it from them. Got it. So yeah, apparently I guess I'm like a glowworm or something. So who knew? Moving right along.
Very cool. Thank you so much. And then next, let's hear from Rihanna.
Hola, I go by Diana Moon Online. I use she, her, and I am playing the Duwende Reina, also she, her. And the last time, she inadvertently decided to make the sentient nanosmog into a VR slideshow headset, because why not? And she kind of is starting to realize that she may have lost her good friend forever, but we'll see.
Yeah, that's right. Like her friend was de-aged, while still trying to assure Reina that everything is fine. I don't think it is completely fine, but from her perspective, she thinks everything is okay. So, and then next, let's hear from Bethany.
I'm playing Ava, who is who I guess is still a shapeshifter, but there's kind of a problem with that. They got caught in the sentient smog when Eduardo did his EMP holy light thing and got sort of fried, and now have no real control over their shape-shifting abilities. And last we saw them, they were kind of uncontrollably shifting from one really fucked up mutant animal, because those were the only ones available left to them, to another with like just continuously, and it kind of sucked. But it was all worth it, because they actually did manage to retrieve a friend that they thought was gone forever. So hey, maybe Reina's friend is also not gone forever.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because Ava's friend is the Earth Dewata that was enslaved, that had originally helped our group to escape, but they had been reprogrammed. They had tried to resist the programming, and they were on the run from the other Dewada, which is where, bless you, which is where our heroes came in, our revolutionaries. And last but not least, how about Leandra? Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, my name's Leandro. I use he, him pronouns. I'm playing Marisol, who's a she, her. She's the Santelmo, who's like the bridge between the underworld and human world. Therefore, she's like the, I don't know, she's been described as the sad girl of the group, although she's somewhat less sad lately because, well, part of being a Sentinel was containing all these stories of all these dead people, so she's never really known who she is. She's only had two memories of herself, both quite sad, involving this other girl named Celeste, or who she found out later is named Celeste. But she got caught in that miracle EMP thing that changes sentient smog, so those memories are gone. So she's actually less sad because she's just gone back to neutral sad as opposed to, oh, woe is me, I don't know who I am, instead of, oh, I kind of maybe know who I am and I might be a jerk. So she's, she threw a bit of a snit, ran into the underworld, got told off by her underworld guardian friend, and is, as far as she's concerned, yeah, she doesn't really know who she is. It's back to square one. So it's less sad now. It's fine now.
It's a different kind of sad. And I remember we did establish that the memories were, I don't want to say taken, right? They left Marisol, but they're like buried with all the thousands of other memories that are now in that like Viewmaster VR headset. That we
yes,
have.
it's still there. Good luck finding it.
Exactly, right? It's like a needle in a haystack. So, so we'll see. Okay, and then so please correct me if I forgot anything. But what I remember where we left off in the last session was that we made it to another safe house, another one of the apartments. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and show the city screen. Yeah, but we made it to one of the apartments full of greenery, one of the secret gardens that we have here, and with the robot caretakers who were giving Marisol some lip. I remember also, and trying to help take care of everybody. Unfortunately, after this brief moment of reprieve, we know that the Corp is actively looking for them. I think it's better to say they have like significant leads now because of the magic that's been going off. So what we see visually is that each of you are in the apartment. There are emergency screens outside in the city showing your faces, showing like, the stolen snapshots like from CCTV cameras and the like of what some of you were up to, like just bare snippets, right? Like, 'cause it's not like they got all of the information. And you do hear the Cyberpunk future version of helicopters coming close to where you are. The lights are beaming towards the building. And you know that they're coming. You know that they're on the way. So what would we like to do? Do we want to try to do anything before the Corp comes? Do we want to try to protect the space? Do we want to run? What are we thinking?
What little gods are in the area?
Ooh, so in this, it's so funny because like I was thinking about it last night. I was like, okay, I know where we are. So in case we have to talk about the little gods, so the little gods in your area, I feel like there's one god that is connected to all of the plants that are in the area, that is helping them grow along. This is a little god because plants that get to grow on their own in the wild in the city are very rare. And so this one, when you see it in your peripheral vision, you realize that it's been hiding in probably in like Ava's section, because Ava's section of the apartment's overgrown and completely untended to. And you see it like peeking out through the leaves. And then Utang, who's still with you, the god of depths, like sort of waves at that other little god, and then that god hides back again. They kind of look like a large caterpillar-ish kind of being, like a Pokemon version of a caterpillar, if I'm going to be honest. That's what they look like.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Marisol, where are you?
I think I was in front of my wall of newspaper clippings and random magazine cuttings. I think I was having a chat with Celeste.
Okay.
Yeah, and Celeste does look nervous about what's happening. You were saying, Puckett.
I'm going to tap you on the shoulder and say, we need to have a chat.
How long is this chat going to be? We're kind of... And she looks outside the window. We're kind of on the spot at the moment.
I know. But, I mean, I don't know if we can stabilize Ava enough to get her in condition to help us fight, and I need to talk to you.
Okay, what do you want to talk about?
Do you help people atone for what they've done?
I don't know. Mostly what I do is tell stories that need to be told.
Well, then we need to make sure you get out of this alive, because I have a story that you need to tell.
You're making it sound like you're not gonna make out of her alive. You can tell the story yourself, you know.
I feel like all of this is my fault. And I haven't talked to anybody about this because just these little details keep popping up and popping up. And I feel like my work... Well, you know better than anybody because of the things that I asked you to do when I worked there. I mean, you know what I asked you to do? I don't remember a lot of what I did. But Caesar, he was my fault. The work that all of this keeps bringing up these memories. Utang.
And
Utang
then you
remembers.
see the little guy pop out.
Utang remembers that I have debts that I need to clear and settle.
Then
So I want you to make sure that when this is over, whatever else is said about me, you make sure to tell people that I settled my debts and that I atoned in every way I knew how.
I think Marisol kind of like looks away for a moment at like the cuttings, and then she nods, and then she says like, "Okay, I'll do this, but promise me that you'll do whatever you need to do to get through this, because I would prefer that however you settle your debts, you come out of this and live with having settled them."
And I smile at you and ruffle your hair.
Okay. Let's not get too...
All right. I need to go find some little gods. Just keep your head down.
At this point, you see Celeste move, and her eyes, her red eyes, take on this unnatural sheen, and you can feel like she's listening for something that no one else can sense. I feel like probably Ava, despite what's happening, has some predator pray programming in there, so she can probably get a tingling of what Celeste is cluing into. And Celeste looks to the side and says, I think we've run out of time. I'm going to go out there and try to buy us some time, but you have to figure out what to do. And she looks at everybody, like, for a moment. She looks like she's going to. She looks at Marisol for a second, like she's going to say something.
Wait, you're going out there?
I have to. And she pointedly does not look like Ava. Look at Ava, and she says, "Our strongest warrior is probably out of it for now. I'm sure the Duende could do something, but I'm going to have to go out there and increase our chances."
But you haven't been free for so long. They might take you back.
And she smiles and she looks at you and says, "Then you'll just have to rescue me again."
Oh God.
So before you can respond, she there's like a moment, it looks like she's just glitching, and then she's gone. She disappears into the shadows. And at that exact moment, like it just feels like a few moments later, in the distance you hear a high-pitched scream. It sounds like it's coming from a couple of blocks away. Right, but I remember that Eduardo was going to check in on the little gods. Is that right?
Yep.
Okay, what would you like to do?
Well, first question is first thing is to ask Utang if any of the troops facing us can be saved.
So Utang looks at you and then turns around and starts to reach out, and you can feel that he's straining in order to feel that many people, which also clues you in that there's a lot that's coming. And he closes his eyes for a moment and he starts to gently float a little bit. There's this gentle light around him. And he says, many of them were like you, only doing this because they don't have a choice. I don't know if he can save them all.
Okay. Take a quick look at this. All right. I've got a couple of tokens, so I think it's time to burn a few.
Sure. What would you like to do?
I would like to spend a token to make what I hope for more real. And at the same time spend another one to use it with unwavering faith so that it affects a broader area and more people. Ooh. Or would you prefer that I do that to help someone regain faith?
Ooh, that's a good question. I feel like the best way to decide mechanically how that's going to look like is, what would you like the end result to be?
I want the end result to be everybody that I can save to wake up and realize that they have been puppets for the corporation and realize that they have strings attached to them and to voluntarily cut those strings.
Yeah, I definitely feel like perform miracles can cover that. Yeah, I feel like you don't even have to. It is aligned with your hope for sure. But I feel
so you
like
want to do this as a miracle as opposed to strong moves.
Oh, it's still a strong move if you use your magic with unwavering faith. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So that should. I mean, I'm working with their tongue here to try to save everybody that I can.
Yeah, absolutely. So when you reach out to the little gods, you're going to reach out to Utang and pray for a miracle. So choose one. The gods overdo it, or the miracle asks for a cost, or a third party is required to perform the miracle.
I think the gods overdo it.
Ooh, okay, I like it. Okay, I'll tell you. Why don't we work this out narratively together?
All right, and
I'll tell you.
do I
first
have
how they
7
respond.
tokens or 6 now?
Right. How many do you start with?
I have 8 right now.
Yeah, so just go down to 7. No worries.
Okay.
Each token is like super powerful.
Okay.
I don't want you to feel like you have to overspend. But yeah, and so, I mean, you earned those tokens fair and square by all the crap you got into the last session. So, so you deserve it. You can use each one as you like. So what it looks like, let's work on this together. So what I'm seeing is you connect to Utang, and he reaches out with his tiny little hand, and he touches yours, and he smiles, and you can tell as he connects to you that they're a little scared, that they don't know if they have they don't know if they have it in them to affect such a large area. But then you start hearing all these other little gods of the area starting to sing along, starting to come together to support you and Utang together. And you feel it. It's kind of like that moment, like when Professor Xavier puts on that helmet and can connect to all the mutants, right? And he can like see them. Yeah. I feel like it's that kind of thing where you can see all of the elementals that are under control. So you see, because we knew from last time that there are around 3 dozen. And you can see that there are these cords that are connecting them to the Corp, controlling them. And the heart of the city is reaching out to you. And the heart of the city says, give them to me instead. What do you do?
Well, in the absence of Ava being able to provide any feedback.
Well, they could still try. Like,
well,
I know Ava's going through a tough time, but do we think she'd be able to do something?
I think.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they can't really do much physically because it's hard to do anything when your hand will stay a hand.
Ava, help us out here, because I know that you're not in the best shape, but we need your advice.
Yeah. Already on it. And
should we give them to the heart of the city? I mean, can we trust the heart?
No, but I think we can trust it more than we can the Corp.
Well, yeah.
It's like trusting lightning not to hit you. Like it probably won't, but you never know, and it's not doing it on purpose.
All right, I guess we're doing this, huh?
Yeah, I think
the least worst option.
Yeah, I think they'll be all right. I hope they'll be all right. It's probably better than a Corp.
All right, let's do this, Utang.
And Utang nods and looks at you and looks back, closes their eyes in concentration, and you can feel the heart push itself outwards. As it does so, some of the mazes of light and sound in the city start to shatter, start to crack, start to move, start to buckle under the influence of the heart reaching out. And so with the miracle of our saint, you can see very clearly, Eduardo, that the cords start to snap very violently from each of the elementals. And then just very gently, the heart reaches out and holds their energy. and you can see, because what you wanted to do was to unlock the god within them. Is that right? Like that's what you wanted to help them.
I wanted to set them free. That means
Ooh.
unlocking the god within them. Yeah,
Mhm.
that's a way to set them free.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
was non-specific as to the outcome.
Yeah. I would say this definitely counts towards marking towards reborn. So I'm here on the, let me share that. So I marked it already here. And so you get to choose one of these options. I would say like an easy option, though, of course, we could do. I like how Celeste is here, Celeste Goth Girlfriend. Anyway, you can choose one of us is revitalized. This could help Ava. Like we could say reconnecting to the heart of the city and giving the heart of the city power would help Ava stabilize. If that makes sense. But we also have these other options.
That is the most sensible one because I've been trying to figure out what to do about that. And that neatly solves the issue.
Yeah, but let's ask Bethany because I also enjoy seeing Ava struggle with this. You're doing it really well. So how do you feel about it?
I think that I was actually not really sure how to get out of this situation either. It's like I volunteered for it, but now I don't know what to do about it.
But think about all the fun creatures you have access to now.
Yeah. They're. But I think that like I'm listening to this, this whole thing with the heart of the city now that I know that you're communicating with it. And maybe I get a little bit of the like overflow of the effects and stop changing and like just sort of sink back to my, default human form.
Nice. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and then remove the strike through so you have access again to that. I'm trying to not obsess about getting the color right. I think it's right. Okay. Oh, it's slightly off. Which one was it? That's okay, Jamie. Relax. It's fine.
Yeah, I want to say I still have I have access to those mutated animals.
Yeah, for sure.
Easier, like more so than the real ones.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah, because it's not like you lose it completely. Your programming just stabilizes.
Yeah. And I think like just sort of stop and like sit very still and just in case I don't want to like make it start happening again.
Yeah. Absolutely. Okay, so I will also say that while it works, the Saint's Miracle does help. I do think because like I'm looking at the option of the gods overdo it a little bit. I think some of these elementals, they don't know what to do with all of this freedom. Some of them are most of the Dewata actually were just used as batteries. They were never really allowed to have their own thoughts. They were never allowed to. Their programming was especially rigid because the Dewata are so powerful. And it's kind of the same with some of the others as well. So when they're given the sudden freedom, they don't know what to do with it. Some of them start absolutely most of them just like run away. Most of them just try to figure out what's going on, but some of them absolutely lose it. You can hear the violence breaking out in the city nearby. You can see like in the distance through the windows, huge rain clouds start to form as the Dewata call them down. Lightning starts to strike as the thunder rumbles on. And then somewhere else, parts of the city are starting to crack open and you can tell that fire wants to come through. But that's just the Dewata who are very obvious. So you don't know what the others are doing. And you know that they're getting closer because you can feel the building starting to move. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and say, just because it makes sense in the fiction, but let me know, right? We can shift things. But I feel it makes sense that the Corp is getting desperate and getting closer. They've lost access to most of their army because, the Saints still performed that miracle. We're not taking that away for sure. But the Corp's just going to be a jerk. So, for sure. So I'm marking it to. Does that feel fair though, guys? I just want to double check that we're marking towards captured. Is that okay?
I mean, they know where we are, and we just used our magic in a pretty big way. So
Yeah.
Okay. Just checking. Okay, so that means when we mark towards capture, one of us chooses. Any of us choose. One of us pays a terrible price, a bond of sacrifice, a hope is shattered. One of us is reshackled, they become an enslaved. One of us weakens, we lose access to one of our forms of elemental magic. I will say that we know Celeste is out there, but we don't necessarily have to reshackle her if we're not comfortable with that idea. There are also some, just let me know which option sounds great for the story we're telling, and then we can figure it out.
Well, everything's in chaos right now, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I feel like Reina's hope is shattering.
Ooh, right, for the school and everything.
Yeah, because she lost Allie.
Mm-hmm.
She thinks she lost Allie. And yeah, there's for whatever reason the Corp's after them right now, because I think Reina's still a little confused. She's been distracted.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that makes sense. So as Reina starts to see all of this happening, and now the building is starting to shake, you can see the cracks moving through the walls. You can see the robots freaking out a little bit, trying to roll around, get out of the way. Reina, what do you think you'd be doing in this situation?
I think before, when we had arrived to the garden, she had gone to her area and she was trying to use the headset to locate Allie, but it's so much information that there's no it's a 1 in a million chance. And then once the rumbling happened and everyone was talking about having to leave and everything, she's just she went into her drone self, her pure self, with one of the drones barely holding the headset up, as she went to go and observe what was going on over the walls and everything.
Yeah, to get a picture. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And yeah, she's just kind of just observing this chaos that's happening.
Mm-hmm. And what's happening out there. So you can see that people are panicking. The elementals are. I want to stress that there are only a few of them now. So instead of having to deal with 3 dozen, which was a big concern, I'd say we're down to about 8 of them. You can see that they're moving through. These are the elementals who, Reina can just feel it feeding off of them. In fact, I'd say because you have access to the VR, these elementals, their presence nearby, it's kind of activating the VR a little bit. You can see fragments of the memories associated with them. So you can see how these particular elementals, for the lack of a better term, it's they enjoyed spreading the chaos. They enjoyed working for the Corp. Admittedly, because, they didn't know much else. They didn't know what else to do. But they're enjoying spreading more of that chaos, even though they've been giving their freedom. They don't want to do anything else except spread that chaos. And that's in the form of destroying buildings, terrorizing the humans nearby, enjoying the hunt of tracking you down. You see that there's one, you see Celeste in the distance. She's fighting off a fire Dewata, and they're both going at it head to head. It looks like it's a pretty close fight. And the fire Dewata says, "Why are you even doing this? It's not like you're going to get anything out of this. There's nothing that these foolish elementals could do that the Corp won't give us just for being us." And Celeste looks at them and says, "I don't have to tell you anything. I just have to make sure you don't get any closer." And she goes full in against the fire Dewata. What do you do?
I guess I do not another step, and I'm gonna shield her.
Ooh, okay. So do you want to spend a token, or do you want to use your magic with consequence for a neutral move?
I'll spend the token.
Sure. Okay. So for not another step, set down protocols of protection. Tell the GM who or what you're protecting, and in this case, you said it's Celeste.
Mhm.
And against the Fire Dewata. So what do you need to do for a price to pay? In this case, I think the only price you might have to pay. I think as you do this, you're about to set in. You can feel the protocols starting up. You see someone who looks like Allie ducking into. I was gonna say an alley. Oh my gosh, Allie into an alley. But yeah, but you know what I mean, right? Like ducking into like a darker corner. It's really an alley. I had to say it. like, and there are searchlights. There's a helicopter rushing past. So in order to stay here and protect Celeste, right? You're going to have to possibly give up that lead to see what's happening.
I think, I think she does it because she's unsure if she's actually seeing Allie or she thinks she's seeing Allie. And right now, this is more technically. Right now, is more important.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. Okay. So, what does it look like when you protect Celeste?
Since I'm in my original form, I sent a couple or a trio of the drones down that way, and they do like kind of like a matrix force field.
Oh, nice.
Where she could still, whatever magic or whatever she's using to attack can still, it'll go through, but yeah, like she'll be protected, and it's almost like all angles.
Yeah, very cool, very cool. And then so as it starts happening, you can see Celeste sort of like smile, knowing that she's better supported. So she starts taking more risks. She starts really pushing herself, but she knows it's because you've got her back. And then you can also tell that because she's sort of been holding back, like she doesn't want to kill this Dewata, and it's a bit harder for the Swung to figure out how to fight someone without killing them. So yeah, but basically because you're there to help her, she can take more risks, and she makes short work of the Fire Dewata. She like knocks them out, like she just grabs them and then throws them against the wall before they can react. And she's like panting. She puts her hands on her knees, but she still looks impeccable. Like her suit, her goth suit is like amazing. And she says, "Thanks. I wouldn't have been able to get that done without you. I talked big back there with Marisol, but it's pretty scary." She admits to you.
And I think the drones just like kind of chuckle along with her and just like nods their heads in response.
Cute. Okay, so I want to check in really briefly with Marisol. What are we going to do about this situation?
Yeah, I think Marisol is like, as all the stuff's happening to Ava and Reina, she's kind of like, part of her is looking at the clippings and like she knows she can create a portal easy enough to get everyone out. But the thing is, she's seeing all this chaos, all this like suddenly people are like open. They don't have the shackles to anything going on. So I think she's like pacing, she looks frantic, and she sees Reina doing something, and she's like, okay, Reina, I know you're busy right now, but can you make something right now? I need like a big broadcasting thingy.
You'll have to be a little bit more specific than that.
Okay. These people outside, they're people like us, They're ours, so to speak. They're not the chorus, they're not anyone. They just don't know it. They don't know the story of this city. But I do. but the thing is, the story of the city is that it's a lot of different stories. It's a lot of different. There's this memory I have of this couple, and they had this like really small argument over oh, he bought this wrong type of chocolate, and the other, he's like not happy about it because the other guy knows, oh, I don't like white chocolate. Little stuff like that. Some of these elementals, they should know.
About not liking white chocolate?
Well, it's not just that. Well, like, there's like some of these, like, all they know is like the core. If they know what else we could have, maybe
what you can have,
what we can have,
and the main bulk of Reyna that's like closest to you, kind of just like most of the drones like shift over to looking over to like all the chaos that's going on, and kind of just shrugs like, not what I can have. It's too late for that. But I think I know what I can do. And so I gained a token for you asking me to build something.
Actually, it's Marisol who gains a token for asking.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I always get confused on how that works.
I know. I keep thinking I need to reword it somehow, even though I just based it on the. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead. Just wanted to do that.
Yeah.
Go on.
And then so I'll do. Is this what you needed? And I want to make it where I create it, but it'll violently break down soon. So we obviously don't have time.
Yeah,
and,
obviously.
So the thing is the way I'm going to create it is that the best way to do it is I have almost all, but like the ones that are with Celeste, and then like two of the main ones that tends to stay around with the elementals. All the rest of them spread out through the city, and they create huge like holographic screens. And one of the how am I trying to figure out how the one that was like that stayed behind, that had the VR headset, like kind of like floats towards you, Marisol, and kind of sets themselves on top of your head. So it's like the VR headset, the drone, and then you, and then like pushes like little pincers at your forehead, and goes, "Whenever you're ready."
I think while you were doing this, Marisol was muttering to herself about like, wait, first Eduardo, now you have to do the self-pitying bullshit. Everyone can just have a happy ending. And
we learned it from you, Marisol.
I know. I was gonna say that.
Well, like I said, she's less sad now. This is what you get.
Yeah, you get sass. So I just want to clarify before we move on. Are you spending a token?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'll spend my last token.
Sure. No worries. You'll have plenty of opportunities to earn them again. Okay, so we have the machine that Diana that Reyna like miraculously put together so quickly for you. All the holographic screens are showing. The strange device is on your head. Reyna's, I would assume Reyna and Eduardo's haunting words of, if we don't make it, there's no hope left for me, blah, blah, blah. It's like all echoing for you. So what do we do, Marisol?
I think I'm spending a token to use my magic with haunting accuracy, because I think as the pincers go through, I think Marisol's form flickers. She stops muttering to herself. And I think, it's like bad jump cuts. Like, I think if everyone else who's in this room can see, like it's like her face is like jumping from like different versions of her to like different people, and it's doing it with like flicker of like static, and it looks messy. It's glitching for sure. And like there are moments where it looks like she's crying or she's happy. There's moments where it's like she has long hair, or sort of like different moments of her life that she didn't know she still had in her, because again they're lost in these tangles. But it keeps jumping to like other people as well, like and other people, and like you see people old or young or whatnot, people you might have seen, people you'll never see, and I think all that starts getting like broadcast through the to the holographic screens. And I think there's also like another more otherworldly effect, because it's not just like the memories, it's almost like whatever spirits Marisol was talking to, it's like it is like bits of them are with her, so she's also like broadcasting like these like emotions, these feelings, these ideas. She is kind of becoming like a bridge between
Ooh. Yes.
to everyone else and anyone who can like see or can even like feel the holographic screens, which I guess includes the people in this room. Kind of get awash with like, it's like they're being connected to like a real sort of history, to the city. It's not what the Corp says in the history books. It's like, here's actual lived history. It's memory. Like to her, like history isn't what's written down in the books, it's what people remember happening. It's not, oh, so and so planted a flag for the Americans or something. It's like, so and so spent 4 hours climbing a stupid hill to plant the flag and they're very, very tired. That's what history is, to Marisol. And I think that's kind of the feeling that she's broadcasting from this room to everyone who's around.
Yeah, I love it. So I just want to break this down a bit mechanically, and I have a suggestion that'd be fun afterwards. But so you're using your magic with haunting accuracy. Do you want to use let the dead speak, because like the information's flowing through them to the screens? Does that make sense? Or
yeah. And I think I know, because Eduardo asked me this. The information is complete but reveals a dark secret.
Oh, I always love it when people choose that. Okay. So we'll get to that in a bit. And I also wanted to suggest, do we want to bring in your bond of the virtual pop singer who sings for the dead? Because I'm wondering if this is like a Sharon Apple Macros Plus kind of moment. Where like, just to describe what it looks like. So there's this virtual pop singer starts to like come through the holographic screens as well and starts to sing in the middle. It's this huge, like, she looks really huge, just several stories high in the middle of the city, singing the song of the dead, singing the song of memory, and what the elementals could have, that they could have these things, these small moments that make us human, that make our lives real.
Yeah. Damn, I'm gonna owe Vicky some royalties. Yeah, I think probably it translates better when it's being sung rather than just being like a bunch of collages being forced on you. I think all those feelings and memories, they come true in a song, and I guess there's a dark secret in that song.
Yeah, there is. Do we have any ideas? Does anyone have an idea for a dark secret?
We already have so much of poor Eduardo. I think this.
Let's shift the camera a bit to someone else. Let's see.
Could it be the one that we share?
Sure, yeah.
I think like it should be either Reina's or Marisol's, but both would be even better.
Yeah, we do have a dark and sad secret we share, and it could doom our rebellion.
Yeah, do we want to do that?
Yeah, I just don't remember what it is. Diana, you have to help me out.
Unfortunately, I don't remember too well. I think it had to do with like, we have the technology to, I think, extend everyone's life. I think that's what it was. To live forever. But that would have been too dangerous for the humans to have.
Right. Oh my gosh. But that would be really great to get that information out there, because people would freak
Yeah,
out.
we said that like it's all about how much energy you have. And like there's a limited amount, so we can't, if we share it with the humans, we're no longer immortal.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that they can't take it from us.
Yeah. Ooh, that's so good. Yeah, and so like I feel like so as the singing's happening, but the memories in the hollow screen start to flicker and show the conversation in the past between Reina and Marisol. It starts to show the evidence of how this could happen. Yeah, and so like that's so good. I really
Just-
like where this is going.
How does Raiden react seeing that that's kind of being shared and like Marisol's almost inadvertently like sharing it?
Yeah, because it makes so much sense. And I think with that, it's you are successful in getting most of the elementals who were like lost and didn't know what to do with their newfound freedom. A lot of them start to calm down. I mean, let's be honest, they're going to be like 2 or 3 who are like absolute jerks, like no matter what, like because people are people. But it does work. Most of them calm down. Most of them you can see like in the hollow screens, like some of the drones catch it. They're going into hiding. They're trying to help. I'd say that you even notice some of your friends from the refuge that you came from, like they're going out of their way to help these elementals to make sure they get away to safety. To make sure. So I keep looking at my cat because my cat keeps looking at food on the table, like she's gonna jump for it. We're gonna have to take a short break while I fix that in a bit. But anyway, but so I'm so distracted by how cute she was. Yeah.
No worries. I did ask. I did want to know like how is Reina reacting to this, because I think
Yeah.
Reina, we established that like there are some of us who used to be human and some who were just elementals, right? Like, so I know we shared this secret, but like now that it's being broadcast, like how is Reina reacting to it? Like,
Well, the thing was that I think we had established that we had forgotten most of it. Like there was just bits and pieces that we had remembered, like that survived all this time. So I think at first, like Reina was like, "That can't be me." Like I would remember that was me. I remember a lot of things. But then quickly is like, no, that makes sense now. Not that you wanted to keep the secret or not to give the ability to humans to have this possibility, because in the end it's more like, well, then they'll live longer to create better things, and like, she's kind of mad at you because she's so out of the loop and she's not used to being out of the loop of anything for being who she is and everything. And the fact that all of this has been happening and she's like, I don't even know you anymore. And you like, yeah. So like the couple of drones that were still like in the area with everyone, they kind of like drift away from you and towards like Ava and Eduardo. And the one that's on top of your head kind of pinches you a little bit more. They don't have to because the connection's solid, obviously.
how wonderfully petty.
I really like this. It's so good.
So yeah. But yeah,
yeah.
it's not gonna last much longer.
Okay.
For sure.
Yeah. Absolutely, because it's gonna break down soon. So I think this is a good time to call for, because we didn't just hit, but we hit the top of the hour. So we can take a break. We'll come back to the flickering hollow screens and see what happens next. You have given yourself a reprieve. You have weakened most of what the Corp is throwing at you, so that's a really good sign. But we still have to see what we can do.
You said there's 7 left, right?
Well, right now we're just down to 3 really horrible ones. So
Got it.
because Marisol also took care of the other 7. Well, I can't do math. 7 minus.
Well, Celeste took the 1 out, and then there's 7.
Yeah. But Marisol took care of most of them, and then the rest of your allies are taking care of them. But yeah, how about us? I'll see you guys in 10 minutes.
Sure.
Yeah, so 20 after the hour. Okay, I'll see you guys in a bit. Hello, hello.
Hey.
Oh, I see. I'm catching up with the chat. Okay, so both Puckett and Diana are back. Is that right? Oh, there's still getting used to Leandro.
Surprised baby Leandro.
I just had this moment of who's this person again? Like, you know, I knew. Gosh, my brain is so weird. Okay, so I assume everybody's back. Puckett, hey, is that right? Is Puckett there?
Yep.
Okay.
That's why I typed back in chat.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I see it. Sorry, my bad. Okay. So where we left off, the hollow screens were starting to flicker. So I'll say that you're definitely out of danger for now, though. Like, you have successfully turned the tide on these things. But the Corp still knows where you are, still has a pretty good idea of where your location is. They're really just going to bring their other forces into this. And there's also the question of, even if you get out of this, how are we going to, like, on a larger scale of some kind, like, really ensure that the revolution, like, comes to be? You know what I mean? Like, there's that, like, there's that question, definitely. So does anyone have any ideas of what they'd like to do in the scene before I introduce how the Corp's going to possibly? Yeah.
Oh no, sorry. I just realized my screen was, and I always had to point to know which direction my webcam is fixing, so I don't have an idea.
That's so smart. I just realized that. Yeah.
There
About
is
the pointing
something I would
thing.
like to do.
Sure.
Remember that little plant god that's roaming around? Little caterpillar?
Yeah, the little Pokemon guy. Like, really fat caterpillar. It smells
Weeds
like
grow everywhere. You can't eradicate weeds. I want to see if this little caterpillar plant god can help me use the weeds in the surrounding area to get a lead on Allie.
Ooh.
But I don't think you guys know that Allie's missing in context.
Ooh, that's right. Yeah, I don't think Rena actually said anything, right?
No, I don't think. I think she asked where Allie was, possibly, when before we got back from the underground. But yeah, you guys don't know because she came in as like, yeah.
And the only reason that Raina saw it is because she had the drones around Celeste.
Yeah, as a consequence.
Okay. Is there anything going on in the area that growing a lot of plants very quickly would fix?
Ooh. Well, I think it would at least slow down the Corp. I'll give you an idea of, like, what they have planned, just so that it's easier to frame what our saint will be able to do. You can sense, because you've been close to it before, that sentient smog is starting to build up again. And you can see that there are all these, like, mysterious figures wearing these, like, dark shades, dark clothing, ridiculously Corp-like outfits, basically. They're all over the roofs nearby, some are on the ground, and they're placing, like, these huge machines. Like, they kind of look like vats. It's such a weird. It's where they stored the Tesseract when Thor took it. I know my my influences are showing, but you know that you're right. You know what I'm talking about, the, like, bottle situation with the handle on the end. So they're like pushing it, forcing it down onto the ground, onto the roofs, and you can see, like, it's starting to suck things, and you can see the sentient smog is coming in right? And it's forming within these tubes. The Corp is trying to weaponize it, basically.
So
don't like that.
they created more sentient smog.
They're trying to sort of pull it into themselves, right? I think that's because like the sentient smog is out there. We know that a portion of it's in Sulad. We know that a portion of it was deactivated, but yeah, whatever
Okay,
is
so
remaining.
there's
Whatever's
still
remaining.
some of it.
Yeah. They are trying to, but I think that makes sense. They're trying to replicate it. They're trying to like, which is not a good idea because we know what the sentient smog is made out of. We know that it's made out of people and their memories.
And we're seeing this through the drones or through the holoscreens or.
I heard that.
My partner's like, "What's going on in your game? What's happening?" Sorry, you were saying. Fuck it.
So we're aware of this because we're seeing it through the drones or the holoscreens or.
Yeah, I would say that you're aware of this because Reina will definitely be aware because I feel like Reina's just more aware of things in general because of the drone situation. And I would say that even Marisol feels like something's happening because it's all these memories moving and shifting into places connected to the hologhosts. Yeah, so those two definitely have a good idea of what's happening.
Okay. I have two questions. One, is it possible for Reina to build mech suits for the little gods that they can inhabit and use? And the other is whether there's a way for Marisol to in some way create a sentient smog vortex that sucks all the sentient smog into Sulat.
I'd say yes and yes. Yeah, in fact, if someone asks Reina to work on it, they'll get a lure because if you're going to ask the Duende to build something for them.
I mean, I'm sure all the little gods would be super, super stoked to have mech suits to roam around in. So,
Right, but yeah, you'd have to ask Reina. Basically, Reina's operating like a computer, just not knowing what to do other than because, like I said, she doesn't quite understand what's been going on. She's just reacting.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
So yeah, you just have to ask her, and then
yeah, maybe this would be a good time for Eduardo and Reina to have a moment during this reprieve to like connect.
Because I don't think we've actually really had one besides in the second session with
I wasn't in the second session.
That's right, the third session when we had all the spirits like hopping around in like the leftover little robot bodies.
Yeah. So, like I said, Reina's kind of pissed at Marisol. And so there's a couple of drones that, like I said, had drifted over to where you guys are and everything. And possibly not. Probably not.
No, until you have that connection, because we had to go from.
But doesn't mean we learn people's names. It's like
I don't. We have never spoken in character.
Yeah, that's also true.
Yeah, I think this is a good time to have the three of you, not Marisol, because Marisol's like over there, busy.
No, that's fine. I wasn't actually trying to horn in. I was just, yeah, never mind.
No, but it's a good opportunity. Actually, it would make sense. But anyway, go on.
So yeah, so you like I said, like the drones kind of move towards you two and everything, but she hasn't really said anything. She's kind of concentrating, but if you ask her to do something, and if it seems like she can do it, she'll do it.
How are you holding up?
Well, I can't keep this citywide projection for too much longer.
Yeah, about that. I have an idea. What would you need to expand your projection and reinforce it?
Ooh. More me?
Well, there are little gods everywhere in this city. It occurs to me if you basically make something like a repeater that might kind of almost be like making more you.
Haven't done something like that in a long time.
And I know these little gods would love to be able to roam around a little bit more freely. They're all, I mean, Utang, say hi, please.
And one of the drones turns and looks down and then like does a little wave with one of its tiny drone arms.
All these little gods are all over this city. And the only reason that Utang's still with us, I mean, we found Utang back at the robot. And the only reason Utang gets to move around is because Utang's riding on me. If they
That
had...
must be tiring.
Well, not really. Look at how little. But if they had a way that they could move around a little bit more freely, they might be able to maintain that projection for you, or at least reinforce it so you don't have to put too much effort or as much effort into holding it up.
That could work. I did this rushedly though, so it wouldn't give too much extra, but maybe that's all we'll need.
I mean, what was that old adage? There's never time to do it right, but there's always time to do it over.
True.
So, I mean, good enough for now and maybe do it right later.
We'll have to break up the old robot.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I mean, are you okay with that?
And all like the two drones just kind of do like a shrugging kind of emotion.
Seemed like you were pretty attached to that robot.
Well, it did try to protect it.
Well, and you've spent a very long time trying to get it back up and running.
It was I planned the robot for the school, but I don't think the school's viability anymore.
No, it may be in a different place, but the idea is what's important, not the location.
And the drones just kind of like, they kind of like make like a weird like vibration kind of sound, like as like kind of thing. And they look over towards like Marisol with the drone that with the VR headset like still connected to Marisol. And I'm sure Marisol's kind of wincing at the pincing pain.
Yeah, she's looking out the window trying, but it kind of looks like she's brooding, but she's wincing every now and then. It kind of ruins it.
Plans are always changing, and at least the robot will be of use to the little gods.
It's better than nothing.
And so since I have no more tokens.
Yeah, but actually I was gonna say using your magic with consequence and having to give up the robot that was gonna help the school. I feel like it's a pretty that's a consequence. Like it feels very sad already to me. I didn't pay a token for this. So I think it's totally valid. And
you could always ask Ava for some advice, or you could ask me to call upon a little god to help you out.
That's also true, to help with this.
I mean, there's two ways you could gain another token, like right off the bat as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just don't see in the context her doing that.
Okay.
Yeah, but it makes sense. I think what you already supported in the fiction shows up mechanically. So I just want to double check. Do you want to create it? Like, because you have to choose one. Will it be perfectly? I remember you were kind of suggesting it wouldn't be perfect.
Well, the whole thing is because the projections are. We've already decided the projections have to fail very quickly.
Yeah.
So this would only like bolster the projections a little bit longer, but then at the very least, all the little gods will be protected. That'll stay.
Okay. So the mechs. So you'll create it perfectly, but it takes great time. Well, and effort. It could be like the effort. Mhm.
Or it could be the second you quickly create it, but someone notices.
Yeah, that's also fine with me.
Yeah, so I'll take that one.
Okay, cool.
Because the projections will have to violently break down since that's already.
Yeah. I'll say that the one that notices is actually the heart of the city. That's what's going to, rather than the corp. So we'll see what that means. But yeah, so tell me what happens. How do you? Because the refuge isn't too far from here. So, but you could also theoretically call the robot over. Like I kind of like the idea of the robot coming over to where you are, and then like, how do you feel?
I think yeah, I like that idea. Because originally I was just gonna send one of the drones are with us, but no. So the two drones are hovering like near Ava and Eduardo. They kind of like their eyes kind of glow, and they kind of just like seem like they're just floating in the air. The one that's on Marisol's head, the pincher's kind of like what happens is one pincher is still dug in, the other one retracts, and then like the projections are kind of flickering because all the other drones are like focusing, and like in between like whatever Marisol is trying to project out, there's like codes of command going on that's to awaken the robot fully finally, and to have it like come to us.
Yeah. Wow, I see it as like kind of like such a cool Akira anime moment. Akira without the depression. I'm gonna say that because that movie was depressing. So like there's a huge, the code starts to wake up, and you can see like the robot in the distance. This light shoots upwards as it's reactivated fully, and it starts to wake up and come together. And as it moves towards you, you realize it's getting bigger and bigger as there are these random parts of the city that are shifting towards the robot, making it stronger, making it bigger. You realize that the robot has some sort of protocol to keep rebuilding itself, to make itself stronger as it needs to. Because this robot once had to be big enough to shoot a gun that could shoot a bullet, right? That was about the size of a bomb. So the size of a small bomb. So it moves towards you, and you can see the corp is freaking out, like it's like crushing the helicopter as it's going by. Like it's not even trying to. It's just moving through it, and it crushes some of these things. But it's being careful with everybody else. I'm gonna put that out there. And then the robot,
I think I've worked on it long enough for like that was the main point, was to get those protocols of kill out of the way to not kill the students.
Exactly. And then so it comes up towards the apartment where you are, and it kneels down, placing its head down towards you, and you can tell that the robot is waiting for and trusting of whatever you feel is best.
Right. So it does that, and I kind of like, part of me kind of wishes I could form like my human form, but with two drones it's impossible to kind of do. And so the two, like almost in unison, like put their little drone arms on like the forehead of the robot, and the drones, because when not Marisol, when Reina speaks, it's, you guys don't kind of realize it when they're in drone form. It's in your head. It sounds like she's talking out loud, but she's not actually. But this is the first time. So this is the first time you hear the drone speak, and it's kind of female-ish, but it's very robotic, and they're spouting out coding that pretty much tells the robot to like disassemble itself and to find the little gods and to wrap around them. Basically, it's like the way it's spoken.
Yeah, absolutely. And so it starts falling apart very gently, very slowly. The bits and pieces move on their own as the coding, the programming is followed and activated. And with the last of it, the last thing that's there is the hand that reaches out towards all of you, sort of showing its faith, knowing that you'll be able to get through it. And then the hand slowly falls apart as well as it reaches out and looks for the little gods. And so this is where we can see like there's this montage of each of the little robots finding the little god. So there's the little god of people getting annoyed that they walked into a puddle and now their socks are wet. There's a little god of the smell of grass before the rain. There's a little god of that moment of inspiration that strikes you right before you wake up. All these little gods start to come together, and the mech starts to form around them. And yeah, all of them. It's happening all over the city all at once, right? So, what happens next? What do we want these little gods to do, Eduardo?
Well, their presence will be at least slightly unnerving because all of a sudden there's all these little mechs wandering around. But what I want them to do is to expand the protocols of protection.
Ooh. Mm-hmm.
And ideally,
Mm-hmm.
I'd like that to be able to shut down all of the Corp's tech.
Ooh. Very cool, very cool. Yeah, so before that can happen, yeah, let's pin that. I like the idea, what you suggested, that Marisol has to open up a portal that'll suck in, because like we don't want the Corp to be able to weaponize the sentient smog. And I think Ava could also help with that. What do we think it'll look like? Oh, and by the way, before we decide, Celeste pops back in, and so she just has this one small cut on her cheek, which just makes her look extra hot, but she's fine. And she looks at everybody, and everybody looks really serious to her, and she goes, "What's happening? We're winning, right? Things are cool, right?" Like she doesn't realize, like, because Reina just had to deal with all this information, had to disassemble the robot, and things are not going well between Reina and Marisol. So Celeste is like, "What's happening? What is this like tension?"
Yeah, I think we're winning. I think. Marisol like gives a look to Reina, like, are we? Are we?
Reina doesn't respond to Marisol right now.
Okay.
She's busy.
Mm-hmm.
Good point. But Celeste sort of like, so she leans against the wall, and she takes out a cigarette and starts smoking, waiting. Okay, but what do we do?
I have a question, I guess.
Sure.
So, what is Sylvia doing during this time?
Yeah, so Sylvia this whole time has been like healing. You do notice that as time is passing, she seems to be like regenerating, because the Wadas have a natural ability to like regenerate and regain their energy. She sleepily opens up one eye, cracks it. Like she looks like has the worst hangover ever, basically. And in fact, she doesn't notice it because she's not as connected to the little gods, but Eduardo sees that the little caterpillar god, who's about to have a mech at this point, is like stroking the Dewata's hair, like, "It's okay, you're gonna get up, it's fine." But yeah, she looks at you, Ava, and she goes, "Oh, we're not dead yet. That's really good, right? Like, is this going to work?" And you stop flickering. Are you better?
Maybe, yeah. So I feel like I should do something here, but like, I have the worst timing. Apparently, especially bad timing in this game. Because every time I think of something to do, like, it is immediately made moot in the next scene.
Oh no!
So,
what are you thinking of?
So like, I'm always caught at this time when I'm like, I don't know, what I was gonna do is pointless now.
Oh no!
I don't know what I was gonna do next. I need to take 2 steps ahead, I guess. But So, I don't know. Like I said, I feel like I should contribute something, but I don't really have a lot to contribute. I mean, I think everyone's got everything covered.
I do feel like Spirit Speak would help here because I'm going to be honest with you. I feel like Marisol just opening up a portal to Sulad and putting in more of the sentient smog might not be the best thing for Sulad. I'm just gonna
Probably not. No.
And I think the spirit realm, the spirit guides would know how to make sure this happens without corrupting or endangering Sulad.
Okay. Yeah. Although the last time they saw me, I attacked them, so we'll see how well they want to deal with me.
Well, it's going to be from the spirit realm. It'll be your side because, like, right, Sulad and the spirit realm have they're kind of like, I feel like if we're going to talk about it, it's like a page. Like there's one side of the page and the other. So Sulad is one side and the spirit realm is the other, even though they're part of the same book.
Okay.
Right? Yeah, they're like touching, but they're not like the same thing per se.
So not the same people I attacked then.
Yeah.
Or same spirits I attacked, really.
Yeah. That you attacked as a tiger. No, it's a different.
Okay. I was like, that sounds cool, but in the fiction, I'm not sure if they would be willing. But if it's a different set of cards, then I'm cool with that.
Absolutely. So would you like to open channels to the spirit realm?
I would, yeah.
Okay, so describe and create your ritual. Your friend, your Dewata would be more than happy to help you in whatever you feel is best. You have all the plants around you as well.
Yeah. Okay, so the spirits are the digital remains of the spirit realm. What would a ritual like this even look like? And what would be required? There's a reason I've avoided doing this so far because I have no idea what a ritual for this character and the spirit realm would even be like.
Yeah. I guess a good question is like, do you feel like it would take a physical component, a mental or emotional one? Like when we think ritual, like is there a prayer or is there a sigil you have to draw? Like whatever you feel makes sense. Do you have to take on a particular form?
Oh, that would be bad because you know what? Let's let me look at my weak moves here because I feel like this is
I kind of like that.
Let's see. Not completely losing control of my shape, but I think what's going to happen here is not great if I have to take a particular form.
There's also what price does the spirit realm ask? That could kind of cover it.
There's that, yeah. I was thinking reveal a dangerous vulnerability, but any of these things would work.
Yeah, let's just go for it. Yeah, actually, I also like the reveal a dangerous vulnerability because it could explain why it's so important for Ava to help. What could go wrong with? I mean, I feel like we kind of know what would go wrong, but like now that we recognize it. But yeah, so go ahead and earn the token.
Sure.
And I'll say that as you reach out, so because I assume by this point that Eduardo has like expressed their plan already, right? I remember that too. Was that right? Did you talk to Marisol about the plan already?
I don't think he did.
He didn't?
Not on screen, at least.
Okay. Not on screen yet. But I think what happens is Ava can feel like looking at these machines, so they're getting filled up. The sentient smog is starting to like sparkle and crackle. And the Dewata have long calmed down, right? So it's no longer thundering and lightning as much, but there's still rain because we're still in the cyberpunk dystopia. So there's like neon colored rain and stuff. And it's falling on top of these things, and those Corp agents are just standing there completely unaffected by the rain. They're not the rain's not hitting them somehow, even though they're out in the open. And you can sense that the spirit realm, it's not words that it communicates with, but it's a sense of urgency. You see these images in your head. The spirit realm is showing you that if the sentient smog just goes directly into Sulad, they keep asking for someone to be a guide. They keep someone has to take care of the sentient smog. Someone has to go down there and make sure that it doesn't spread and corrupt the spirits down there, because it's full of painful memories or victims. So to put it down there without a guide would be irresponsible. So what you can do as a tikbalang is to ask if someone in the spirit realm would like to offer to be a guide. Does that make sense?
I guess.
Unless you want one of you guys to become the guy, which is also completely valid.
No, I don't think that makes. I think. Okay. All right. So I'm sorry. I'm about 3 steps behind constantly here. Sorry.
No, we can do a better job of like being clearer, so it's fine. It's fine.
No. Okay. So. Yeah. Never mind. What was I? I'm just asking a spirit to. I will skip 3 steps ahead here and say, I ask a spirit to do this and catch up. I'm going to skip everything I had in mind and just be like, okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no problem. I can help describe the ritual for you and everything. It's no problem. So I would say, in fact, I feel like what's happening is that, just to really reflect, like Ava's like, what's happening? What's going on? But their body is moving. Like there's an innate knowledge that's guiding their actions, that's guiding their body. The hand wants to reach out to take some herbs. The other hand wants to reach out and take a flower. And your friend, the Wada, she looks at you like she's kind of confused, but she can tell you're trying to do something important. So she's trying to make space in the garden for you. And your hand starts to draw these sigils that look like somewhere between code and ancient text. I even say like it's in BALIKBAYAN, which is like the ancient Filipino text that we don't use anymore. And you start to write out that you are looking for a keeper, someone who will keep the memory, someone who will pledge themselves to the sentient smog, to the ghosts, to those who were wronged, until they can be healed, until they can be returned. Yeah, it's a lot to ask. It's true. So would you like to spend a token, or do you want to have consequences?
Well, I mean, I assumed that I was, like I said, really revealing a dangerous vulnerability, but we're skipping that.
Oh, no. You still gain, don't worry. The way it broke down mechanically is you still gain a token for learning about the vulnerability, and then now you can spend a token for dealing with the vulnerability.
I see. Okay, I got it. Okay. So it's actually, what price does the spirit realm ask? Is actually the weak one we're using here, right?
Oh, right. Sorry, yeah. I should have been clearer. Okay. I went with, actually both are correct. Because it could have been, I was thinking of. It doesn't
seem like a vulnerability so much as that it wants somebody to do this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I went with the price.
Okay, that's part of what I was confused about. Now it makes sense. Okay. Cool. Okay. Crap. What did I just?
Oh yeah, I can also describe the keeper that shows up, the guide from the ritual working. Because my only question was, are we going to spend a token to make sure this goes off?
Right. Okay. I mean, consequences are fun, but I think these consequences would just be distracting mess. Like I said, I'm trying to catch up and not delay everything and just go off on some weird tangent.
Yeah.
So I'm going to spend a token for this.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's when Marisol starts to sense that the veil of Sulad is starting to encroach on the area, because as Ava is doing the ritual work, reaching out to Sulad, reaching out to find someone on the other end, you see that there's a, like in your mind's eye, you can see the boat, the boatswoman that Marisol was talking to in the last session, who was also kind of sassy now that I think about it. So they turn, and then their features start to look a little more effeminate as the robe pulls back and long purple hair starts to reveal itself, and her eyes of the ocean start to break through. And she sighs and she says, "Very well. I will also take this responsibility. There are fewer of us that need the waters, that need my service. It would make sense for me to become the keeper of these souls, the keeper of this light. I accept, and I am grateful for this opportunity," she says. So we know that the keeper is in place. So it just now it's a matter of just like
getting the smog there.
Yeah, actually getting. So how are we going to do that? I'm going to say that at this point, the Corp starts to surround the building. Like the lights are coming in. You can hear there's a commotion downstairs. You can hear the robots are starting to fight them off. Mm-hmm.
Also, at this time, all the broadcasting just starts to like. What happens is like my drones. It's kind of like that old like visual of like when you get like the old visual of when you get angry, like your head pops off, like kind of like the top of your head pops off and stay. So that kind of happens to all the drones out there, where like the little bits, they're not disabled because it's me, but and this happens after, of course, after all the little gods get their mech suits. But yeah, there's lots of flashing and like and sparks and everything, and the one that was on Marisol's head kind of just falls forward, and the two that are with you guys, they kind of like just fall to the ground as I'm temporarily incapacitated.
Oh, I like this. I like this.
Oh, lovely.
Do you want to take a token for giving into the fading and feeling mortal in this moment?
Sure, yeah. I'll do
Go ahead and take it. Yeah, because now your limits are showing. Yeah, you were saying, Leandra. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I think Marisol sees that. It's like, okay. She looks out the window. Can we see where the smog is?
Yeah, so right now, because of it's getting pulled into these vat-like things, you can see that it's starting to coat, like when a fog rolls in along the ground. I have to admit, I haven't seen fog in my life a lot, so I'm just basing it on movies. But it rolls in on the ground, and it's starting to collect. You can see that it's starting to glow. You can tell it's going to be bad. These stupid core people, they have no idea what they're doing, as usual. I'm also going to say, just so that everyone has a visual understanding, you can see that the soldiers are down below. Like, I say soldiers, but they're really like Corp agents. They have like these huge black visors. There are these things glowing on their faces. They have these weapons. They're trying to smash their way, but the robots have formed together and they're pushing them back, like trying to protect you guys. Yeah. So what do we do, Marisol?
I think Marisol looks back at the group and is like, so just catch me up here, because it feels like 5 million things have happened, and now my asshole guardian friend is now shepherding people. Okay, all right. So because
you see it, you connect to that. So
yeah. So we need to get the smog into Sula.
Yes.
Right. Oh, I'm saying this in character.
Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, Reina's incapacitated.
How's Eduardo doing?
I think he's still recovering from actually working a miracle and bringing in the heart of the city to free as many of the elementals as he could.
That's right. So it's really down to Ava and Marisol. Yeah. Uh-huh.
And Ava's still fine, right?
I mean, at the moment, yeah.
Okay.
In the sense of like not currently changing shapes, so but not so much in the sense of knows what to do about this.
I think Marisol kind of sees like everyone's kind of like, yeah, in varying degrees of weathered and tired from having expended so much energy. And Marisol is that as well, because she had to do that whole broadcasting thing. But she's like, okay, if we need to get the smog into Sulat, then we need to get to the smog. Well, I mean, I have to get to the smog, I suppose. So but, God.
I think at this point, Celeste is going to do a power move. Like, she's just gonna pick you up, like lesbian hot style, and like pick up the little sad girl and be like, "Tell me where you need to go, and I'll take you there."
Marisol like stammers. She's trying hard not to blush.
But Celeste looks at Ava and says, "But I think we're going to need your help to make sure the Corp won't interfere. I think we'll need your strength for that."
Yeah. Okay. Sure.
And your Dewanda friend, like, she shakily gets up and she's like, "Yeah, I feel like I've gotten most of my strength back. We should be able to do this together, I think."
Cool.
Yeah,
I definitely know how to do that for sure.
we just need a window. I can.
Your Dewanda friend says, "Maybe we don't say that part out loud, Ava. We have to pretend we know what we're doing." Sorry, you were saying Marisol.
I mean, yeah. Cheers. I was just like, yeah. We just need a window to get past the core, to get to the smog. And then I'll open a portal, and then things will be great. I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Celeste says it's gonna go off without a hitch, and she's like, she's joking, but that's her way of getting through the fear right now. So, but yeah. So how do we want to go about this? Because I could easily see our TIKBALANG shape shifting into these cool, mutated weird forms to like help take out some of the Corp, distract them. Oh, I saw an owl bear suggestion in the chat, and I agree.
That is for sure the kind of thing that that I can change into now. Good luck turning into a real animal, but an owl bear probably is in that database.
Like, it's an owl bear, but it has to have like the cyberpunk color palette, right? That's what's happening. I need to get that commission now. Anyway, so like, that'd be kind of cool. Yeah, an owl bear would be really cool, actually. It'd be really funny.
It was just a joke, but like,
yeah. Like, it'd be really cool though. Just, I'm imagining this owl bear tearing from roof to roof, just like,
yeah. I can do that because I said way back during character creation, I said something that turned out like I just threw it out or forgot about it because it wasn't relevant. But I think it's relevant now. Because I shifted into this creature. I don't know what the hell it is. Looking at it, we know it's an owlbear. I don't know what it is. The Corp didn't give it a name. It's just like a number. And the one thing all of these forms have in common is that they are in pain and they are angry.
Ooh.
And they are specifically really angry at the Corp that created them.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'd shift into one of those and go down and like just lay into the closest Corp agents I can find.
Yeah, absolutely. So are you going to use your magic with unerring grace to make sure you're at your full power?
I think I'm taking action and fighting risk because I don't see how this could go perfectly. I mean, this is a terrible idea.
Yeah. So technically, magic with consequence. I like it. Sorry, you were saying.
I have one question. What size is this owl bear?
About the size of the tiger, like bigger than a person. Probably about the size of like a black bear.
Ooh, I like it. But with feathers and a big beak. Adorable. Okay. But yeah, so you are inviting risk. I really like that. I'll give you, let me know what you feel would be apt. Do you want to risk yourself, or do you think your Dewada friend would risk herself to make sure you stay protected?
I could see this becoming a thing where like she tries to protect me and then I try to protect her.
yeah, we can see that's what's keeping you
This is
busy. Like, no,
we're both alternately at risk, and like so maybe I start out like I'm at risk and then she comes in to protect me, and then now I'm protecting her, so now I'm at risk.
yeah, and it keeps going on that way. I like it. I like this fight scene and how it's playing out. I absolutely agree. So we'll just say that you're busy doing this, right? So you're able to keep the Corp at bay. You're able to help Marisol. You get that much needed distraction, but it takes all of your focus because she's just like overdoing it. She's just like trying to blast through things with her elemental magic.
And I think that like I think that's constantly changing is probably something along the lines of Eduardo's miracles in that. Sorry, my cat's going crazy here. In the like just takes it out of you thing. So and then doing this also, it probably that might be what I'm putting myself at risk, because like I get down there and I am less strong than I expected to be.
Oh, very good, very good. I like it. I'm thinking it's going to be visually shown by they're throwing, like that like it's a netting that they're throwing at you, and then you're fighting past it. Like you're still able to fight them off, right? But it's a very tough battle. Like we'll just put it there.
Yeah.
That's what you say is happening. And then so Marisol Celeste is, she's jumped to the other roof where that first one is, and she says really quickly, "I'm going to drop you for a second. Land on your feet, okay? You can do that, right?" And before you answer, she like drops you.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, I just want to say, because I asked Ava for protection, that gets me a token.
Yes, absolutely. That is correct.
Yes, playing into their lure. But
yeah. That's what it's there for. And then so she.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say she drops you, and then she like, she comes over and she like clocks that. She punches through that other Corp, that Corp guy, and then more of them are coming towards her, and she's fighting them off, and she's like, "Okay, whatever you do it quickly."
I think Marisol had a question. She did stop, and Marisol was gonna like ask her something, but then she got dropped, and she's just like, okay. And so she's gonna run into the smog, and I don't know stuff. I think as she's kind of like running, I don't know what. It always works out. I think as she's running, she's accessing like protocols, and she's gonna open a portal and spend a token to open a temporary portal through Sulad. And perfect. Yeah, I think what this looks like is again, she looks like she's like glitching out, and I think there's a moment where she runs like, and she makes like a running leap, and when she glitches out, she leaves like a Marisol shaped hole, and then she kind of rolls forward, and she's panting, and suddenly the exhaustion's like getting to her, but there's like a Marisol shaped hole that's like into like this glitchy sort of static, and it starts to like expand out, and the static kind of gives way, and she opened a portal, but it's not like she has magic to get the smog to go in, I suppose.
That's also true. How would you? So the portal is open. It's flickering, and the fog is not moving. And Celeste is up on the roof, and Celeste is like, why isn't it moving? What's happening? And in that moment, she gets distracted, and you see that she gets hit. She gets shot with blaster fire that goes through her shoulder, and she falls off the roof.
Is there anything I can do with smite to maybe try to stun them a little bit? Like, because I'm already kind of weakened and out of it. Like, it's not a full-on smiting. It's just kind of like hitting these corp agents with a taser.
It's like a baby smiting. Yes. I just love the idea of a baby smite. I would say
A smith?
yeah. Sorry. That is so good. Yeah, absolutely. Like I think it would totally work. So we're going to, because like the way I see it happening, have you used this ability yet, the Smite the Wicked?
No, because I've been trying not to be lethal.
Yeah. Oh, that's really cool.
And I'm thinking if you need an explanation for how it works, maybe it's something that goes through all the little god mechs, and it's kind of like a weak electrical impulse that just stuns the corp agents that are in the area, as opposed to like a full-on orbital strike from like, satellite orbital strike from like, hundreds of miles up.
Yeah. And I think since you're using the baby version, you don't have to spend a token for it. It'll be considered the neutral move version of using your magic with consequence. And the consequence
Which
being
is that it's not as effective.
Yeah. So it's able to like, so we see like this ancient satellite from above is like responding, but it's just like, it's not quite coming online. It's not
Making
activating.
cracking and popping sounds like.
Yeah. Exactly. But it is as you say, like the corp are distracted, and it is going to be easier, but we still haven't like pushed the smog into Sulad. Like, is there something we want to do in order to get Sulad to like?
I have one more token. I think that's the time to spend it. I don't know if I want to invite more consequence because we're wrapping up, and so
This is definitely our climax.
Yeah, I think I'm just. It's some form of using magic with haunting accuracy, and I think I've been to the smog before, so I think I've connected to it in a way that was to pull out Ava's Dewada friend. So I think there's that connection is still there. So I think my progress just connected, and then I just tried to talk to it.
Ooh, I like this so much.
Yeah, so I think kind of like Marisol sees Ava get shot, and then baby smiting happens, and she's just frantic. Just kind of like, it's like, I know you're. I was gonna say not real, but that's wrong. You're very real. You're too real. You're a bunch of many real things, but I know it's a lot of painful things. You well, nobody asks to be exist, but you especially, I suppose. You're a lot of many different needles, all jammed against each other, and jamming against other people. And I'm sorry. That's just what it is. But it doesn't have to be like this. There's always a better place. There's always a place to let go, and that place is not here. This place is full of people who'll take you and use you to use your needles against other people, and I don't think you want that. I mean, I don't want that, but I don't think you do either. And I think Marisol's just kind of like standing there while Sulad, the port of Sulad is open, and I think there's hopefully my guardian friend is on the other side, kind of like.
Yeah. So she's standing there. The ore that she used to have with her has now been transformed into a glowing staff. And she's waiting very patiently. She's very unlike herself. She's very silent. She's not saying anything. But she is waiting.
I'm sure she's watching me step up, I suppose.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. It's just there's a better place for you. I've opened the door. You just need to step through, and I can't promise that it'll all go away, but it's better than here. It's much better for you. And I think Marisol, like just with all exertion, kind of like falls to her knees, and she's gasping. I don't know why I'm gasping. I've just been sitting here, and the thing she doesn't want to say because she's still connected to the smog was that like she doesn't know if she can do any more other than just plead to it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think what this would make sense with your last token is, what do the spirits ask of me? Like, what do they want in exchange in order to listen to you? And I think what they would want is, they'll say, we'll go. And they all talk like in one voice, but it's a voice that's made of many voices. It's a voice that's made of many sounds. It's a voice that is both eerie and haunting, but also incredibly sad. And you hear the voices say, we'll go. We only stayed because the city was dying, because the heart was dying. But if you promise us that you'll let the city live again, then we will go.
I think Marisol just like I think the weight of all those voices press on her, and then she just kind of like she'll like close her eyes and accept like all that pain that's kind of been pressing on her, and she'll nod.
And then you feel the burden start to lift. You feel the things start to shift. All the fear that they were holding on to starts to dissipate. And for once, you see like all the vats that they had, like trying to control the sentient smog, it starts cracking. And for the first time, the sentient smog starts to look like the separate people that they actually are. And they all start streaming slowly towards Sulad. And as they pass you by, they each look at you in the eye before they leave. And you just keep hearing, you made a promise, you made a promise, you made a promise. And then slowly the last one walks into Sulad. And the guardian looks at you, the new keeper of the light. And she smiles and she says, that's a big promise. But I guess you're a big girl now.
Thanks.
She shrugs and she says, you have your friends to help you. It's going to be okay. And then the portal closes.
Whew. Now, I don't know if you heard Puckett, but big girls don't cry, apparently.
Okay. So I feel like we're just going to describe how you get away from the Corp for now, I think, because it's going to be fairly easy because Ava has been doing their best. Sorry, my human cat has showed up. Yes, we're trying to... You're so distracted. Anyway, sorry. I keep telling him this is recording and he doesn't care.
Oh, what?
I told you this is recording. Anyway, but yeah, do we want to montage it and lead it up to the epilogue? How do we feel about it? Is there anything else we want to do before we move into that?
There's one last thing I want to do. Raina, I need you to make one more thing for me.
Rita's unconscious because no one checked on her. They just kind of left her.
Eduardo's still there. Like 4 people left the room with Eduardo and Reina.
Yeah, because Eduardo and Rita were just like, there's like a couple of drones, and then there's a passed out saint.
I mean,
maybe the drones passed out on top of him.
Yeah.
I mean, but Marisol let the one on her head just fall to the ground.
Oh.
No, times are. maybe maybe to Marisol that drone was a drone.
Oh,
Oh, that's so how it feels like.
There was a situation. She had to.
Drone. It's not
Yes.
Reina.
All right. I have a way to narratively remedy this. I'm going to spend a token to work a miracle to wake Raina up.
Ooh. That's also, or you could also
If that's okay with you.
spend a token to help Reina regain her faith.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
Or is one of those more appealing to you, Diana?
probably just to probably wake her up. I don't see her gaining her faith anytime soon.
Okay.
ooh, mm-hmm.
All right, so there is. Gee, I am down to 8 tokens.
How will you survive?
I know, right? What if I need to do something really big? So, all right, let's spend the token to kind of gently wake you up. I need one more thing from you.
And the 2 drones just look at you kind of sleepily,
I need you to write a virus.
And they cock their heads that's a new one.
And it needs to be able to interface with biological systems as well as mechanical systems.
So the drone that was left abandoned by Marisol comes over slowly with the VR headset
Mm-hmm.
as a response to what you just said.
I put it on.
As soon as you put it on, you'll see, because since Reina did create this, she did obviously add her own little quirks to them. It's not just what she got from the smog. It's essentially a little piece of her. So you see a virtual version of her in there.
Okay.
What do you want to do with this virus?
It needs to erase data stores and break connections.
Any specific kind of connections?
Machine and elemental connections.
Why?
I just smile. I have a plan.
Well,
I usually do, but I have a lot to atone for, and there's no way that I can atone for all of it. But I'm not much good if I don't spend the rest of my life trying. And this will help.
And it does help you have a long life.
We'll see. I mean, I keep passing out in the middle of battles, so I don't know how much longer I'm going to last. But
maybe get yourself a new battery.
For some reason, I mean, I thought the message on the package is that, batteries are not included.
Well, we all have to change eventually.
That's true. So I know you can do this, but will you? Please.
You asked. So I will.
I appreciate it, Raina.
And Raina just does this and she kind of dissipates, and then the weight that you kind of felt of the 2 drones that were still kind of on top of you disappear. And if you take the virtual headset off, the 3 drones that were still in the area are gone.
Is there anything I can do for you?
You don't get a response. And so what happens is all the drones all coalesce together. It takes a little bit longer because the explosions did happen and everything, and all among all the chaos, and they form back into her tall, curvy form that she does as a human, but it looks she looks older than she did before. And she kind of just like spreads around, like looks around and everything. And I think she goes to like the closest like little mecha god, like crouches down and just kind of like stares at like, oh, the workmanship's not too bad, like, and what she does, because the robot had created so much of itself when it had come by, there was a lot of extra scrap and everything. So she kind of slims down this, and it kind of like it reverberates to all the other little gods, because think of like the mechas that they had were like the really big, huge, bulky ones from the 70s, like and now they're slimmer to like more personable kind of like mech suits than actual mecha contraptions. And what she does is she creates like basically Google smart glasses, enough for all the population, so that as soon as they put it on, the virus starts. And it works for machinery and everything, as long as they're within the area. It's like RFID.
Very cool, very cool. And so I assume you're going to spend a token for it?
Yeah, because for it to create practically perfectly.
Okay.
And I just need to have a copy of that on hand for myself if I need it.
Yeah, I think the virtual headset, it almost seems like it falls apart, like the way the nanosmog kind of like moves apart. But what happens is it becomes a slightly like less bulkier like virtual headset in one hand, and the other hand has a set of those glasses.
Ooh.
Nice.
Very cool, very cool. Okay, so what will Eduardo do next?
I think I'm just going to sit down against the wall and rest for a little bit.
Okay, shall we move into because I definitely feel between by having the sentient smog break up and go to Sulad, I definitely feel it's moving towards magic being reborn. So I'm going to go ahead and mark that. And then what happens is we get to choose one of these options again. I feel like what makes sense the most is one of us is revitalized, but let me know what you guys think.
I like that. And I think that it makes the most sense if it's Reina, but I also understand that Diana may not want that for the character.
It doesn't make any sense for Reina to be revitalized. Honestly. Right. In the fiction, it doesn't make any sense.
Does anyone else want to pick any of these options for their character, or? Because we could arguably say that what happens in the fiction is that we see Allie being reformed in response to all of the magic that was happening, because that could be a thing.
I like that, but
but it's your character, so let me know what you think for Reina.
I mean, that's because we don't know what happened to Allie to begin with, so I mean, it could work if that's what everyone else is okay with.
Yeah, and I'm thinking what could happen is so we see a shot of Allie picking up one of those glasses. But this is like in the same way that Reina looks older, this alley looks younger, younger than when you last saw her. And she's like, well, it kind of worked. I guess it kind of worked. That wasn't so hard. Talking to the heart of the city, taking a bit of their soul into me. It all worked out, right? Like, so she's like talking to herself about her crazy plan. Yeah. You're gonna say something, Bethany? Sorry.
Oh yeah, I thought you were. Shit. I keep doing this.
No, it's okay.
So, last session, there was a thing about. So it had to. I'm trying to remember exactly what information I got at the very end of last session. It involved Ali in some way, and it involved Sylvia in some way, and I cannot remember exactly what it was. Not enough, concretely enough to do anything here. But
yeah. So what I remember is that we knew that the smog was connected to the heart of the city. We knew that Ali was getting in over her head. I'm trying to remember the connection also. Yeah, I'm gonna take better notes next time because like it was like
at the very end, like that part of the session that like is after all the action and you just forget about it. But
yeah. And the thing is, I wrote down the notes and then I threw out the notes. This is why I need non-physical notes, because I caught them out the computer. But that was my bad for sure. But I don't mind any suggestions now, like whatever you feel would make the most sense.
I remember something. Okay, so it was something about Ali. And something about Sylvia tied to that. Maybe not tied to that. Maybe just in the same vision. Maybe they were two unrelated pieces of information. No. Okay. So if Sylvia stayed away from the Corp long enough, something was going to happen to her. And I remember like the very last thing I did was say no, I won't let it happen, and then forgot about it. Great.
Yeah. No, there was like a timer situation where she was going.
Was that related to Sylvia in some way?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's a really good point. So I feel like we could use that to say the elementals who are now disconnected from the Corp. I do kind of feel like it was solved when Marisol like allowed the bond to be broken with the Corp. But we could also say like as part of this, the rebirth of magic of this situation, that the elementals are like.
I mean, either way, I'm not doing. I don't need to do anything about it.
I kind of like the idea of Ali like overexerting herself to make sure, and that's why what happened to her happened. Like she took a part of the heart of the city into herself because she wanted to make sure that none of the elementals could have that ticking time bomb in them anymore. I do like that idea though, because like it makes Ali slightly more awesome. Is that cool? Does that make sense?
I only brought it up because if that wasn't the case, I was going to do something about it.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah, good point though. Yeah. Absolutely awesome. Okay, so I think that means, because I'm looking, that we go into our epilogue. When the fifth box is marked, so I'm looking at the Reckoning or Homecoming tab. Let me put it up on the screen. So it says here, when the fifth box is marked, the magic in us is reborn. So that's what happened. We 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm double checking. Yeah, we did. The magic in us is reborn, and we finally make the city truly our home again. The GM or someone from the group will ask the elementals 3 questions. Anyone or everyone may answer the questions, but everyone must agree on the answers, right? Because this is a collaborative narrative. Collaborate and narrate a satisfying epilogue together. So I'll say what the 3 questions are first, because usually most of my players are like, oh, what's the second one? So the first question is, what bright and shining future awaits the city? The second question is, which one of us runs away and helps rebuild the Corp? And the third one is, how are our hopes realized. So if we are uncomfortable with the second question, we don't have to answer it. So, but I put that there for anyone who thinks it might be interesting for their character or an NPC.
I have an idea.
Oh, okay. Wow, that came through really. Okay, yes.
And you'll realize that I actually read those questions and have been thinking about this for about the last 3 hours.
Oh, okay, okay.
Since you've said we don't have to answer it, I'm assuming that means that you'd allow a bit of narrative license.
Oh yeah, for sure. The questions are just guidance.
I think since Eduardo is so exhausted, he just kind of waits and like rests. Well, because I mean, the corporation's coming. You know, they're coming to that spot and they're going to take him in. Everybody else has a chance to get away. As the corpse shows up to take him into custody, says something along the lines of, "Took you long enough. Let me just put on my glasses and we'll be on our way." And he puts on the glasses that Raina made for him.
Is everyone else okay with this? I'm just checking in with the group first.
Yeah. And uploads the virus into the corporation systems.
Very cool, very cool. So technically the second question is like which one of us was taken in? Is that how we're interpreting it?
He was sort of captured.
Yeah. I like that idea though.
You know, it's an effective way to continue atoning for what he has done.
Right. So he technically, is he staying with the Corp? Like how does it look like when the virus starts to attack?
Oh. I think that because of how the virus operates in gods, that he starts to decorporealize and starts turning into a different color of sentient smog, which dissipates.
Ooh, I like that. I think the last moment that we're going to see is Utang is like leaps off of your shoulder before it happens, and Utang will say, "I'll make sure, friend, that your work is finished." And we see him like walking deeper into the corporation, right, going through those like halls and everything, and disappearing into it. So I feel like this leads us into our next question, which is what bright and shining future awaits the city? Because we know that the sentient smog that was attacking people is no longer there. And we also know that the Corp took a major blow because they lost so many elementals that were under there. I would even argue that the virus could have helped free even more of those elementals. So things are looking pretty good. Like, what do we think and plus, like, a lot of the elementals know what they're striving for. They're striving for a normal life. They're striving to connect with other people because of the memories. We know that Ava and the Dewada just beat up a lot of Corp people. Like, so the armies, their security is not doing so hot either. And we know that the little gods in the area are all mechanized and a little stronger. So there's a lot we could say that could be positive for the city. Yeah, I'm thinking what I'd like is like everyone just gives like it can be an image, it can just be a short narration of how things get better for the city. I think I do have an idea. I think the mazes of light and sound can just no longer they can no longer stay focused. They can't keep dissecting the city and bordering things off. I think continually there's like a bunch of elementals that keep breaking things down over and over again, and they're doing that with the help of the allies from the refuge. So that's a glimpse I'm offering. Does anyone else have an idea?
I think there are more secret gardens. In fact, they just aren't secret anymore.
Ooh.
I think they're just like they're like openly defiant. What are you gonna do about it? Sort of presences in the city now, and that's part of how the maze of light and sound kind of get broken apart, because it's not a maze anymore when you know there's this place where you can meet up and just hang out with some folks. There's a quiet place in the city. Here's another one there. It's not secret anymore. It's not hushed whispers that have to be passed around. It's like everyone knows where to go now when they want to. They're not escape because it's still part of the city, but when they want to like step away for a moment, and those places are precious because, especially to the elementals who get a taste of like, oh, here's what it's like to like quiet down for a moment and connect back to reality. I suppose it's more open now.
Cool. I like that. I also like the idea of there being more like the leftover robot pieces. I think they formed into other robot gardeners that are helping take care of things. But yeah, does anyone else want to offer a glimpse of how things get better for the city?
You see little mecha gods playing with kids in the street. You hear the kids shrieking and giggling as they play games like tag.
So cute. Aw. How about from Diana or Bethany?
I guess like there's not as many memory hunters out there. Like it's not as profitable, so in turn there's less and less hollow ghosts because of that.
Ooh. Yeah, I like that idea. That's really cool. Yeah, I kind of like the idea of like maybe there's a reason why it's not as profitable for the memory hunters. I wonder if like Celeste or someone else is going around like messing with them. Like, screw you, stop that. But yeah, but we can say it's definitely not as profitable, so there's less hollow ghosts in the area. Yeah, Bethany, do you have any ideas? Like
Yeah.
maybe something about Spirit Realm or whatever you have in mind.
Nothing to do with Spirit Realm. Um, no, we have a ton of elementals now, just wondering, not sure what to do with themselves in this human city. And I think that some of them get together and decide to start clearing out some of the landmines and bombs and stuff outside of the city and like make safe places outside of the city where we can kind of spread out and
reclaim the land.
Yeah.
Oh, that's super cool. I like it. Yeah. I can see like there are duendes who are taking the salvage, there are dewatas who are like burning things up, there are aswang who are moving in quickly in and out, just working together. Yeah, very cool. I like it. Yeah, so which brings us to our last question. How are our hopes realized? So this is a good opportunity to go back to the hopes that you had and figure out like I know that Reina definitely had her moment where she had to give up the robot and everything, but she doesn't necessarily have to give up on the hope entirely. Like there's a way it could be healed if you feel like it makes sense for the character. But yeah, I'll open it up to everybody how they feel their character's hope was realized. Does anyone have any ideas to go first, or?
Well, mine's simple. It doesn't happen. Because
no.
that was also part of the reckoning that did go push us back.
Oh yeah,
and
but
everything.
it doesn't. Yeah, but to be fair, like mechanically, when
But with that, plus the sacrifice of the robot, plus the fact
Yeah.
that all the chaos that was going on and all the elementals, like, and everything, yeah, it just Reina realizes that she is too far removed from everybody. That the connection she wanted to have is not going to happen.
Yeah, that does make sense. I do think Ali would still want to help you in some capacity, like because Ali's truly connected to you. Like, do you see anything happening between that?
No, like she's happy that Ali's alive. That one of the crazy schemes that Ali did actually panned out somewhat right. But Reina's actually very hard to find.
Ooh, okay. Like maybe we just see bits and pieces of like different drones in different areas of the city.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think you'll see Ali. She's like, she keeps going to the heart of the city. She keeps finding that physical space deep in the heart of the city, and she keeps talking and listening to it, which may be a good thing, maybe a not so good thing. With Ali, it's hard to tell, honestly. So, but she keeps going back to the heart of the city to speak to it every so often, and Reina is able to see this clearly through the drones. Yeah. Mm-hmm. How about for other people's hopes?
Well, I think I had to give that up for the first time I came across a smog, but it said reconnect. Doesn't mean
Yeah.
if I don't have those memories, can it just be
Yeah.
connecting?
Of course.
Just gonna,
We could even say
what?
because technically the sentient smog, there's any way that you can justify narratively. It's just like what makes sense for you, what's the most fun for you, for your character.
Yeah, I think, well, the question Marisol was going to ask Celeste before Celeste dropped her was, do you like coffee?
Okay, so like I think what happens is in the wake of all of this, because I'm sure Marisol's working on stuff, like whatever. Because it was a lot that's asked for.
I think she actually, when they like reconnect after the whole chaos, once they like get out, I think even like soon after that, because there's just so much, they probably see Eduardo being led away. There's all these glasses now, and Reina's gone. And I think, yeah, when they kind of like get away, Marisol, the first thing she does ask, like, do you like coffee? I just thought could. And she stumbles over words because, of course, she does.
Yeah, and I think Celeste would look at you and smile a little sadly because I do remember that she accessed those memories, those really sad, painful ones.
Yeah.
So I think the question we have is, you know what? I think what Celeste would do is she'd smile and she'd say, "Yeah, I think coffee and whatever comes after sounds really, really good." But you see that later she goes to a SANTELMO, another one, and she offers those memories to be destroyed because she wants to have a fresh new start with you. She's just going to have faith that it'll work out somehow, even if you don't have the past to fall back on. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. And then, has anyone seen that movie, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind? That's probably what follows afterward.
This is the end of that movie.
No, this is the beginning of that movie. Like, they
well, it's both. That's kind of the point.
yeah, they're gonna meet up again, and then Kirsten Dunst the other SANTELMO is Kirsten Dunst, and she hold on to those memories, and
endless cycle of
it's an endless horrible cycle. But for now, I think, well, no, maybe it'll work out because there's no more. The Corp is neutered, and
exactly.
So I think the last shot we'll get is like, yeah, Celeste offers those memories, and I think the last shot we'll get is like the two of them at one of those gardens.
Mm-hmm.
Just the most casual and least sad you've seen either of them, probably. Marisol, more so. It's like, sure, they've been busy, but like, but here, it's just a chance to like wind down a bit.
Mhm.
And I'm sure, like, in between, they're still quite busy. They're probably the ones running around, taking care of those memory hunters.
Oh, I like that. Yeah. This duo. It kind of makes sense because you would be able to track them and she'd be able to hurt them. So makes sense. Yeah, and how about for Eduardo or Ava in terms of your hopes?
Why don't you go ahead, Bethany?
Sure. Okay. I mean, my hope was to free specifically Sylvia and in general the elementals. We did that. I feel like everything I have to say this whole session is extremely redundant. So
you could like deepen it, like what does it look like? Like what does Sylvia do with this newfound freedom?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
I do have a suggestion, actually.
Sure.
I do I think there's going to be a moment where the shot, it looks like it's back at the refuge, like in the first scene, except the robot's not there anymore. But it looks, mostly the same. Instead, they're like little mecha gods playing with the kids and stuff in this area.
Instead of lizards.
Yeah. And I think Sylvia leads a group in meditation. And she says, it's time to reconnect to the earth, to remember that the earth wants to support us. And she's leading everyone through this meditation group in the same way Eduardo did at the beginning. Does that make sense?
Sure. Yeah.
Sort of like reflecting and bringing that to circle. But yeah, and I'll say like it's perhaps Ava could help with their wisdom to help each elemental like sort of like find a new, like, because what you do when you're no longer enslaved by the Corp, right? Like not everyone knows what they want to do.
Yeah, the thing is, Ava doesn't have any wisdom. That's kind of been the whole thing about Ava. If people think they have wisdom, they're going to be sorely disappointed. I think maybe that happens though. Maybe people come to Ava and are like, "Oh, well, you've been out for a while. What do I do with myself?" And Ava's like, "I don't know. Whatever you want."
Oh my god. You're like, wow, that is so deep. Whatever I want. Like it's kind of
I think maybe Ava comes to the conclusion that they don't belong here. I think they never belonged here. And I think the fact that they're like stuck with these weird mutant animals that it's deeply unpleasant to turn into is not helping. I think maybe they're one of the elementals who like goes out and tries to make the outskirts of the city a little safer.
Yeah, that makes
and then
sense.
I think they just leave. I think they decide that they don't belong here. They never have, but they also never will. Even though like there are all these elementals now, that doesn't make this their place anymore. Or like it doesn't fix things. It doesn't make them belong here. Like being among elementals actually isn't where they, I would say belong, but of course you don't, nobody belongs anywhere. like fate is bullshit, and like maybe that's what their conclusion is like, oh, like I was hanging around here waiting for a chance to help all of these other elementals get free. I did that. I still don't like this. This place is still not for me. So I think they just like keep like, as they clear a little bit of like area of landmines, they just like keep going. Who knows what happens?
Yeah, and I'll say, do you tell Sylvia you're going to leave?
Yeah, because I want to give her the opportunity to come with if she wants, but I don't think she wants to.
Yeah, I think Sylvia takes a moment. She looks around at the class. She looks at the kids at the refuge, and Earth Dewata, they like settling down.
Right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But she looks around and she looks at you and she says, I lost you once and I don't want to lose you again. I think no matter what happens, we'll find a home. And I trust in us. Like she's just very trusting. She's very casual about it. And she just starts packing her things really quietly. Like she's very practical about it. Do you think we're gonna need this or that? I guess we can leave this to Marisol and the new girlfriend. I guess that's okay. Like she's just like should we bring a bit of Reina with us? Like at least one drone? Do you think she'd be okay with that? Like, so she's just like
yeah. I think in that case, if Sylvia is along, I think that Ava is a bit less like reckless about it than they would have been otherwise. Because I think they would have just kept going until like one of these things outside of the city killed them eventually. Otherwise, but I think like with Sylvia, they're more cautious.
Yeah, and the way I see Sylvia, it's not like she's trying to control you. She's just there to support you,
right? But just the fact that she's there, like, is
creates this grounding presence.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, I like these two. They're so cute. But yeah. And so I think last but not least, right? How about Eduardo's hope?
I think kind of. He at least a lot of elementals are free now and can make their own choices. So they can figure out how to be their own gods, even if he didn't necessarily teach them how to be their own gods. And but I'd actually think, in a way he did, because he was teaching people how to have more control over their own lives, how to gain internal strength, and to have stronger minds and stronger hearts. So he didn't necessarily literally teach people how to do it. If you look at the idea of no gods, no masters, I think he clearly taught people how to be their own gods, because he was basically teaching them how not to have gods or masters. So
yeah, and I'd like to think that there's a scene of their meditation groups, their gatherings, or people doing it by themselves all over, and there's something that spreads throughout the HoloNet that's only known as the Abayan mantra, which is about connecting to that inner God within.
The Abayan mantra: no gods, no masters.
Yeah, exactly, right? So because there are some Buddhist mantras that sort of like do that, so I feel like it makes sense.
Well, the old Buddhist adage: if you meet the Buddha on the road, kill him.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so I think that's Balikbayan. I think that's do we want to say anything about the story before we stop the recording? We're gonna do a quick debrief, of course, afterwards.
I think I have cried more during this game than in every other game combined.
Oh no.
That's not a bad thing.
Yeah,
Not
yeah.
a bad thing. Just like I've had a lot of allergies during this game.
But yeah, if everyone's cool with it, I think I'll go ahead and stop the recording here. Yeah, but thank you so much for everybody who was watching. That was the climax and epilogue of This Is Our Revolution, BALIKBAYAN, Returning Home. Thank you so much for watching.